Welcome back to Railroads Online, and this is episode 7 of the new Spline Tutorials. And today we are going to have a look at doing some things with double track, some parallel tracks. So first of all, we'll grab out a switch, because the first thing we're going to have a look at is how to make a lane change that goes both directions on the parallel tracks. And this is actually really hard to do at the moment because we don't have a sufficient way to measure the length of the pieces we put here as the crosslink. So we'll start off by putting down a switch track, and then we'll start to put on here. And as you can see, as we'll put it on circle mode, as I pull it out, I only get the length shown in meter increments and not in centimeter increments, even though we can place them at centimeter increments. So I'll change up the grid size to 1 meter. And I have tried this with 50 centimeter, but it's just a little bit too short and it's very hard to get it to work. So we'll try it with 1 meter. And this is our first link piece that we'll put in here. Okay, now this is the same method as what we used in the old splines, and it doesn't matter which switch we use. And we just want a small piece here on the end. And then now we're going to turn the switch around and face it back the other direction again. And we want it to go to the right. Put a short piece on here to mark it. Then delete the switch again and measure back again for the length. Doesn't matter which one we get when we're measuring for the length. And this time we'll actually put a piece on here, and we'll put 5 meters of track here on the end. We can delete that one and that one. And now the next one we put in, this will be the final one. And this should give us a lane change then going this way from left to right, and it matches up and lines up here in the middle. And of course it always leaves funny little gaps. Now something about the new splines is this link here in the center is no longer linked at this point. So we have to delete that piece because it's no longer any good to us. Now this is the easy part to get, and where it gets more difficult now, and why we really need to be able to measure and cannot currently do it, is to be able to put the other 2 switches in to come back the other way. Okay, so we'll turn this piece here around, and I don't know why they're always backwards. So what we're going to do is we're going to use this piece as a line-up tool to line up where this switch here should sit in relation to this rail here and the end of this rail here. And we'll need to put it onto 1 centimeter increments. And now this is just siding it in the best you can to try and line up on the end of the rail. Somewhere here I'll get the right spot. And that's about it there. Now we crashed in here and we'll have a look and see how much of an overlap we've got. And we've got just a little bit too much of an overlap there. So we'll try again. It is actually very difficult to get it to sit into the spot where you want it to sit at. But this is the key to having it line up both ways. We'll have it crouched down, we'll look now, and it's just a little bit short. So that should do us. And you can see that we're placing this piece perpendicular across, and we'll just leave it there for now. And now we want to build off of this track, and we need to use this as the measuring stick so that this here sits in about the same place as where it sits there on the other side. And this is the part that's now, at the moment, it is a guess because we can't actually measure it because it says like all of this is 1 meter long, and obviously it's not. And this is the difference between it lining up when you build the other side in and it not lining up. And of course, it's trying to be very difficult for me, of course. We'll have a go at that. And I reckon that's pretty close. We'll have a go at that and see how it lines up. Okay, delete the piece we used to measure it. And now we basically do the same thing again using switches, and we'll put this one on here. It'll give us a measurement to the end, and it should be somewhere close to there. And set us on grid 100 so that we're placing down meters, and place a 5 meter piece here on the end. Move that one out the middle. And now this will be the finished one here that we put on here. So it's now lined up and lines up across here. But again, because we've turned the switch around, this here is no longer linked. So we need to remove this piece here out the middle. And now the same as what we did when we built this way is we need to put in the link across the middle. And this here can be painful as well. Make sure it gets to line to the right one. We've got to make sure that we're on the 1 meter distance and click it in and hope it doesn't link onto this one, because it will actually do it. Makes for an interesting piece of track. Okay, mark our length. Put a small piece on the end so that we can build backwards from it. And now this will tell us with the next one how well we lined up our tracks as to how well this here lines up. And it's pretty close. Let's put a piece of track in and see. And look at that, we have missed by about 1/2 inch, I would say, looking at that, of being lined up correctly. So that means we put this piece here in slightly the wrong place. It needed to be slightly closer, because if we link this up across here, should link. No, it didn't link. It actually built it clean over the top, because we put a link piece in between there. And of course, you've got to turn circle mode off to get the second link. You can see it has actually put a slight kink in the track there. And well, I actually think it might be this link here in the middle was the wrong length. So we might have to remove that and remove that, and we'll try again with this link. It did not measure out correctly our 1 meter distance that we put on with the circle mode and made it too long. You can see as I'm pulling it in and pulling it back, it's not giving me the same position every time for 1 meter. This is an inconsistency with the new splines that I've noticed when you go building with them. So, like, it's telling me that's 1 meter, but that can't possibly be 1 meter. It doesn't reach. And that's obviously too far. This is a very big inconsistency, and this is why it is hard to actually make these kinds of pieces of track at the moment, because of these inconsistencies when you put in your pieces of track. And we will see whether or not we have actually brought that closer, and we haven't, so we will try again. I left that piece there on the other end so that we can see whether or not we actually get it in just that slightly bit shorter, which will bring the track closer together. And that is not connected to the right link. We'll try up, and that didn't work. That linked to where it shouldn't have linked. And you can see the pain of trying to get this here to all line up and actually work. Did we get it back a little bit shorter this time? This time we've got it shorter. Even though I put it in at a meter, just like I did the first time, it's now put it in a different position. And remove this one out the middle, put the switch in, and let's see if it lines up. And this time I think we're back the other way. Yes, we are. We're even further distance back the other way. So remove that, and we'll try again. It's very much a trial and error problem at the moment, and that's obviously not going to be the right length. So we'll try it again. And well, again, so you've only got to look at it and you can see that that is not giving the same distance as what it did last time. Very, very, very painful. Okay, what I'm going to try and do is we'll put it onto 1 centimeter increments. And we'll try and get a line up here somewhere. And I reckon about there. We'll give that a go. And we shall put that on to get a length. And of course this piece here on the end will not be in the correct spot now. Put a new one on there. Try and build back the other way and see whether or not it lines up. How close are we this time? And we're back to about where we were the first time. As you can see, this just is not as we were told it would be when we were told that we would be able to measure our lengths of track as we put them in, because you can plainly see that that is not the case. It is a bunch of guesswork. Put it in, try it again, and try it again. And maybe you might get it to fit. Okay, let's put it back just a little bit further. Build back the other way. This time it looks to be a little bit closer. Okay, I'm reasonably happy with that will actually line up now. I will put that piece in. We'll actually put it in long because we want to just build back from it to get our distance. And it doesn't matter which one we pick. Now we want to go back to our 1 meter grid distances, so we can put 5 meters of track here on the end. And delete that one. And put 5 meters here on the end. And now this will be the actual finished one, which will be that one. And now we have to come back here to the middle and we have to delete all the links here out of the middle and connect them all back together again. And this has to be done with circle mode turned off, otherwise they will not connect. So circle mode off, and now it shows me the link. And on this one, I wish these things would stop disappearing out from under your feet when you're trying to connect them. It would make life a lot easier. And the last one, and show me the link, and there we go. We have got it all linked up. And they're straight. So that's how you make a crossover in the new splines. Now there's only one thing left to do here, and we need to put some groundworks in the middle. And well, ideal here would be to have a level groundworks, but this here will eventually disappear when the new splines are fully in, and our only option is to use embankment. And we need to rotate it around so that it is at, if we keep rotating it'll eventually give us what we want. Let's put it on 10. And there we go, I've got it lined up 270. And we want to have it somewhere close to the middle. And you can see that if you get too close, it'll actually raise it up too high. And this is a bit of a problem with this, placing this new type of center groundworks. And we'll turn circle mode on so it makes a nice straight line to the other end. And you can see it is high. So we can't actually place that in there. It's too tall. So what we have to do is we actually have to come, and yeah, we don't want that one. We want the new spline one. And we actually need to do 2 sections out here to fix the incline. Now somehow we have gotten inclined up. And we want it level. Or is that what the problem was? It was going up in the air. Well, there we go. Now it's fixed the problem. Somehow I must have bumped the button and got it to go up. And here's another problem with the new splines. This area should be loaded. So all the hitboxes should be loaded, but I have sunk in and have gotten stuck in the piece of track in the groundworks. Now, a quick way to get out of here is if we build across here with some old groundworks and place it, and it didn't jump me out. Try it again. Yes, and like most things with the new splines, I think we'll just delete it so that we can get out, and we'll just put the piece back in again. And for something that's supposed to be faster and easy to use, it's not turning out to be that way. And now we can't get this piece the same length as that piece, and we've put it on 1 meter lengths, and that is about 20 centimeters too long, or about 80 centimeters too short. Inconsistencies. And again, we're back to the same thing here again. Too long, too short. And we put this in at 5 meters. Now we'll try one more time. And as you can see, that's still not the same length as the 5 meter one that was put on the other side. The inconsistencies are unbelievable, and this time it's put it in the same length. It is honestly crazy. Okay, let's try and put this piece through the middle again to fill in all the gaps. And there we go, that's the best we can do to fill in the holes in the middle of the track. And it still doesn't look quite right with the raised, it should be level. Okay, the next thing we're going to look at now is how to get this parallel track to go around a curve. So we're going to put a curve in here, and we're just going to use this piece here connected onto the end. If it gives me a link please. Oh, it's all the way over there. So our links are now disappeared as well. And it's probably a good idea that we don't use that. We need to use the stuff that has got a base on it. Now we're going to measure out here because we want to put a radius of corner in, let's say 75 meter radius corner. And we'll, by putting out a straight 75 meters, that'll tell us what our radius is for the corner. And now we'll put the radius the other way. So we want to turn our grid alignment round to there. And we want to aim it somewhere over there. So we'll just aim it off into the distance. And before it starts to rise up. And now we'll measure off 75 this direction. And there we go. That's our 75 meters or somewhere close to it. Put it on 100 and it should tell us 75. And that's measured our two radiuses. And now we can put in our piece of track here that is the actual piece of track that we'll use. Put that one in there. And then we need to use the grid. And we're going to have to go back to 50 centimeter increments because we need to get it slightly apart. And we need to spin this around. Yes, these controls aren't terrible at all, are they? So that we're facing back the other direction. And now we need to put it under 50 centimeter so that we can line up here at the end and have just the slightest little bit of space in between the track. And it's not going to give it to us with 50 centimeters, so we're going to have to go back to 10. To try and get these lines to line up here in the middle. Okay, now we want to put it on 1 meter lengths again and put in our 5 meter section. So that should mean we've got two pieces here that are both the same length and start from the same place. And we can delete this, and oh dear, it didn't work. So we've got no choice but to use. And again, it's still not allowing us to put in a piece the same. Oh, now it does. There we go. Now we've got two pieces the same length, but they are a little bit too close together. Oh, we can get it if we go there. But not here. Not equal with the end, but we can get it there. Yes, the new tracks might be a lot easier to lay in some respects, but in others they are just not. So that has given us pretty much what we want, but as you can see, they're not the same length and they're not sitting in the same position. We will have another attempt. And this time what we're going to do is we're going to spin this around back to the same direction as we put in this piece over here. And we'll try and build it back from this way. See if we can get it the same. Okay, now I'm happy with it. Or not really. It is not going to build a nice curve, 2-lane curve, by having it like that. Yes, this is an absolute headache. Considering in the old splines, all we had to do was put down a cross track and it automatically spaced out our second lane for us. This is just nonsense. To try and get your spacing the same. And I think this time we may have successfully got it. Anyway, I think that's close enough. So we will remove that bit which we used as the measuring device. Now all we have to do to put this curve in here is connect these two short pieces we made here over to those two short pieces over there, which is turn off circle mode. And we've already got the angle set for these pieces that we put in, so they'll automatically line up here on the end. And I have gotten stuck in the groundwork again. And this used to pop you out of the ground. It doesn't seem to be working anymore. You just get buried in more groundworks now. And well, I'm not deleting it. Wrong button. We will use the respawn. And this is more than just a little bit painful when you are on the other side of the map building. And it decides that you're stuck in the groundwork and your only option is to either delete the piece or respawn. And then you have to run all the way back again. And because we have respawned, it's also reset all our controls that we had set. But it should give us close enough that it links it. There we go. And now we have got a parallel track curve, which should be the same distance all the way around. Because we've started at the same place and ended in the same place. And normally this works, and for some reason it has decided it doesn't work today. It gets closer and then gets further apart. And of course our last piece to put in is our groundworks in the middle. And that'll be the correct spot there. And just before it goes straight, be somewhere about there. And there's our last piece in the to get it to go all the way around. And well, from what I can see there, it is actually buried some of these ties too far. So this has not worked like it was supposed to. Which means parallel lines going around a curve to parallel lines today are not lining up. Let's try again, and we're bearing it the other way now. Okay, supposedly then there's only one way to fix this, and it's to make sure we measure the correct distance from this end, which means turning this around again to 150. And the problem of getting it to sit down in the middle is there. Put on circle mode, put it on meter lengths, measure out 5 meters, and then connect between these 2 points. And let's see if it builds it correctly this time. Circle mode off, and it should link. And it has still not built parallel splines. Well, this just shows you that you can expect headaches when you attempt to do this. And this is why I haven't actually continued on with any of the tutorials so far, because you get weird, stupid inconsistencies like what I'm having here at the moment. So what we'll do is we'll go through and we will delete the whole lot, and we'll have another go at putting it all in and see whether or not it will actually come parallel. So it's taken us several goes to put in the crossover piece there for the parallel tracks. So we'll have another go at this and see whether or not it'll change if we do it a second time. Okay, make sure we're on meter. Circle mode on. 5 meter piece, and connect on over here. Pull out a 5 meter piece, and we can't even get the same length. Did not press that. Back on the rails. Delete them both again. We can see these two here lined up. So we'll try that again. And we'll pull out a 5 meter piece. And pull out a 5 meter piece. And that is not going to line up. I'm sorry, anybody who says that this is working and working correctly, you've got your eyes closed. That's all I can say, is you've got your eyes closed. And we still have not got the same length of piece of track. And we're even building perpendicular to the world grid here. So this should snap to the grid at 5 meters exactly from the point where we started. And we can't even get the same measurement twice. 4 meters, and it reckons that's 5 meters. Do it again. Okay, 5 meters. And that's obviously not the same length because the tires are in different positions. So yes, there's my conclusion from this tutorial video is, well, I've showed you the method on how to get these here to line up to work out where to put the switches on each side so that basically using the perpendicular piece of track here across the center, so that you know where the second pair of switches fit together at. But as far as working out how to get parallel corners, everything is just too inconsistent for it to be able to be easily built and reproducible. Okay, thanks for watching. Like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next video.